Have you ever dreamed of using your Python skills to automate trading? I don't, but in this video I show you the lines you have to write to automate buy and sell decisions. This video follows a whole series, and in the last video we looked at the dynamic and static analysis of the code, so please check this out before you watch this video. Let's recall the structure of our bot. This animation from last video shows the architecture. In this video we look at the bot API class. API means Application Programming Interface, which is a software intermediary that enables two systems to interact with each other. In our case, it's our bot that interacts with the Binance servers, and this is enabled by the Binance API. We use this Binance API to send and request data. So dear friends, now we program. First we start off with some imports. What do the first two lines mean? To interact with the API from Binance, we need a library that enables us this functionality, and we have two different options. We can either write our own requests, or we use a library that is designed for that purpose, and it's called Python Binance. If you don't have Python Binance, you can download it with the command pip install Python Binance. I've already have this program, but you can see it here, how you would do that. Okay, next we need two other libraries. One is called datetime and one is called time. We use datetime to convert a date like the 1st of January 2020 to a Unix timestamp, because the Binance API requires Unix timestamps, and we use also the library called time because we want to use a function that is called sleep to pause our program at a certain time. Next we need to instantiate the class client, which we have from the Python Binance library, and we use the API key and API secret of our account. The key and the secret are of course confidential, so you don't see it. Now that we have seen the setup of our program, we have to talk about the fees, so that we understand the next part of the code. On Binance, you have to pay two different types of fees, maker and taker fees. You pay maker fees if you add liquidity to the order book or the market, and you pay taker fees if you remove liquidity from the market. But what does it mean to remove or add liquidity from the market? If your order doesn't match any other orders in the order book of Binance, for example, if your request to buy something is below the current price, then you add liquidity to the market, since it's not immediately filled. But if you add or send a request, an order that is immediately filled, you pay the taker fee, since you remove liquidity from the market. Now that we have seen the fee structure of Binance, we can write some code that tells us the fee we have to pay with our account. I use the function from the Python Binance library. I have to provide one argument in this function, which is it's called a pair, or as a symbol, and in this pair we have Tether and Bitcoin. In this order, it means that if we buy later in this video, when we make buy, we use the buy function or the sell function. It means when we use buy and this symbol, it means that we buy Bitcoin with Tether, and when if we sell Bitcoin for Tether. Okay. Now to demonstrate this, I have to write a little function. And I shouldn't forget to tell you that the secret and the key should be in the format of a string. I forgot to mention this before. But now we can look at the fee, or how the fee looks like, the output of the API request. Okay. Here we know that, or we get a short statement that this request was successful, and then we can see that we have two different fees. As I mentioned before, we have the maker and the taker fee, and they are the same. Now I've told you before that the difference between those is if they add or remove liquidity from the order book. Binance is interested in having a large order book, so the maker fees are in general lower than the taker fees, but it depends on the amount you are trading. And since we don't trade a lot, we are in the lowest category, and maker and taker fees are actually the same. Now that we see how this function of the Python Binance library works, we can make advantage of this function and integrate it into our class bot API. For that, I'm making a function that we call getFee, and it takes a pair. So we want to make it a variable, since we are asking sometimes for another pair and we're not sure if it's every time the same fee. Then we make use of the library. We provide the pair, and now it returns a dictionary with two keys, success and trade fee. We are interested in the trade fee. Trade fee has a value, and this is a list. You can see it with the square brackets, and this list only contains one element, so we use the index of 0, and then we are taking the taker fee. So it's a dictionary again, so I provide it with taker. Then we return the fee, and this is the function we use to get fees in our bot. Another important feature of our bot API code is to provide the number of coins we have. We can make use of a function from the Python Binance library called getAccount. It needs one argument called receiving window, and it's in milliseconds. This means that the Binance server has 5 seconds to execute our request, otherwise it should ignore it. This is for security reasons. Otherwise you can send a request, for example a buy request, and the request is only executed 10 hours later, and this shouldn't be the case. So I surround it with a print that we can see what the output looks like. Okay. The output is a dictionary with many different entries and keys. But we are interested in balances. And balances is the key, and the value is a list. And this list contains many different dictionaries, a dictionary per coin. What is really annoying is that every dictionary for every coin has the same keys. So it's hard to know how many coins we have. Now that we have seen how we can access our coins, we have to provide a function that is more readable or better to access the different coins. I call this function getBalance. And I surround it with a try and an accept block, since the requests are not certain to be successful. Sometimes the Binance server fails to execute your request, and you don't want to that your program dies. So we repeat this request if it's not successful. We write the same line as before, since we know it works. We provide a little print statement, so to inform that not everything worked as desired. And we also now we make use of this library time with this function sleep. If the request fails, it's less probable that it fails again if we wait for a short period of time. Now that we have this request, it returns something like this whole dictionary. And the important part is with the key balances. So we access the value, and we store it in a variable called balances, or temporal balances better, since it's not the final balance. Now we desire to have a dictionary where we can enter a coin, and then we get the amount we have for this coin. That is the desire, our desire. So I make a dictionary called balances, and now we loop through the dictionaries from our request. You see that we get the name of the coin by using the key asset. We get the balance with using the key free, and it returns it as a string, so we use type transition from string to float. Now we add this information to our self-made dictionary. And after we have entered every coin and every amount of this coin into our new dictionary, we can return this balance. And this is how our getBalance function looks like in our trading bot. To test our function we have written before, we have to write a constructor for our class. Again, keys and secrets are confidential, but then we can print the output of the getBalance function, which is the dictionary with keys. The keys are the coins and the values are the amount of each coin. As you can see, for example, our balance. Are you curious to know what is the current price of Bitcoin in currency of USDT or Tether? We can write our request and we make use again of this functionality of the Python Binance library. We provide a symbol that is the pair we want from which we want to know the price. And it returns a dictionary again, and at the moment a Bitcoin is worth 50,000 tethers. The price is always the value of one coin, of the first coin, divided by the value of the second coin. This is how the number arises. We can now write a function for our bot in our class, bot API. We call this get or return current price. It takes a pair from which we want to know the price. In the end, we just want to return this number. We have to surround this request again with a loop and a try and accept block, since every request could fail and then we don't want our program to die. We provide this try and accept block for every request we make. This is like a recurring pattern. This request returns a dictionary as said before, so we can just return the price by providing the key price. I hope you enjoyed this video where we covered how to access your fees and your balance via the Binance API. In the next video we will cover the history data for our trading bots. Hope to see you there.